Man, I've been excited to dive into this one all week. This is the whole signal gate or the text leak thing that has the media up in arms. I guess I wouldn't call it a text leak. It's more some guy got added to the group chat, which is kind of ridiculous. Let's look at the origins of the story. So Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic posted this headline: "The Trump administration accidentally texted me its war plans. U.S. national security leaders included me in a group chat about upcoming military strikes in Yemen. I didn't think it could be real. Then the bombs started falling." Eventually, this was confirmed by the White House that he was indeed mistakenly added to the group chat. And since then, it's just been an embarrassing flounder from the Trump administration. Listen, I call it like I see it. I voted for Trump. I couldn't stand Biden. Kamala's a mess. And the Democrats are just so bad, so much worse than they were 20, 30 years ago. I just can't ever will myself to vote for them again. And I wanted to see what Trump did. It's just my opinion. My vote didn't count. I voted in California. Doesn't matter. But with that being said, it seems like they don't want to take accountability for what happened. I think the only one who even semi took accountability that I saw was Marco Rubio in this clip.
Obviously, someone made a mistake. Someone made a big mistake and added a journalist. Nothing against journalists, but you ain't supposed to be on that thing. So they got on there and this happened.
Speaker Johnson said, "The message that The Atlantic released only proved that America is strong again." Caroline Leavitt said, "The Atlantic has conceded these were not war plans. The entire story was another hoax written by a Trump hater who is well known for his sensationalist spin." She also said this:
"Goldberg is an anti-Trump hater. He is a registered Democrat. Goldberg's wife is also a registered Democrat and a big Democrat donor who used to work under who? Hillary Clinton. This is the same Jeffrey Goldberg who infamously lied about weapons of mass destruction to get us into the Iraq War, which cost trillions of dollars and thousands of American soldiers."
Here's the part that a lot of people in the Trump administration don't seem to want to address, including, in my opinion, Trump himself, who is going to keep Mike Waltz on the staff. Why did one of the members of the Trump administration add a neocon journalist that even Caroline Leavitt says is a Trump hater to a group chat? Not only is this a massive error, it's a massive expose of like Trump is surrounding himself with people that are way too close with sneaky neocon Trump hating journalists. I agree with Sagar and GD when he said this from Breaking Points. A journo exaggerating his headline is now a bigger problem than being the national security advisor of the USA and accidentally adding that said journo to the chat than lying about it. You need a sub 60 IQ to go along with this. According to this post, Michael Waltz claimed that he never met, don't know, never communicated with Jeffrey Goldberg. Here's a photo of Waltz standing next to Goldberg during a 2021 event at the French embassy. The event Waltz attended, a question and answer with a French filmmaker, was moderated by Goldberg. So it seems like Mike Waltz is lying about that. Mike Waltz seems to be the one who added him to the group chat. But remember, it's not Mike Waltz's fault for adding a neocon Trump-hating journalist to a group chat. It's the journalist for the sensationalist spin that he never could have even came up with if he wasn't added to a literal group chat, whether it's a war plan or not. I mean, they are talking about war. I don't know whether it was or wasn't classified, and I'm not asking for an investigation or the court case, and I know that Democrats are going to blow this all out of proportion, so I'm not siding with them, but isn't the Trump administration embarrassed by this? Or is it going to be another like, oh, I'm going to hire the neocons who hate me, I'm going to let them work with the reporters who hate me, who are going to carry the water for the George Bush agenda, and then I'm going to act shocked in a couple years when nothing works out, because I just got bamboozled by Lindsey Graham again and Mike Waltz, even though I endorsed Lindsey Graham multiple times. Let's read what Charlie Kirk says about Jeffrey Goldberg. Charlie Kirk says, "At one point, Jeffrey Goldberg was perhaps most famous for writing piece after fake news piece in The New Yorker about how Saddam Hussein was aiding and abetting Osama bin Laden to attack America on 9/11. His discredited reporting was quoted by Dick Cheney on Sunday shows, helping lead us headlong into one of the dumbest wars in American history. Did Jeffrey Goldberg get fired or shamed for his screw-up? Nope. He eventually became the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. And then that editor-in-chief of The Atlantic eventually got added to a group chat, allegedly by Mike Waltz, when they're talking about war plans. And now the Trump administration's pretending like, oh, it's not our fault. Oh, it's just the Democrats. This is not only embarrassing, this is a look into who Trump's administration is and who they keep such close ties to that they could even be mistakenly added to a Signal group chat. I was just trying to check out Goldberg's history, and apparently he left college, moved to Israel, and he served in the Israel Defense Forces during the first Intifada as a prison guard at the, however you say that, prison. Former IDF member, journalistic architect of the Bush agenda, Trump hater, according to Caroline Leibovitz, added to group chat by Trump's administration. Classic. Now, when Trump nominated Mike Waltz, I looked into him and I found some interesting stuff. His wife apparently worked for Bush and Obama, and then Trump hired her for Homeland Security advisor in the Trump administration because, of course, Donald Trump loves the Bush and Obama leftovers, only to act like he got bamboozled by the Bush and Obama leftovers when he keeps hiring Bush and Obama leftovers. And Julia Nishwat, who worked for Bush and Obama, is also the sister of the nominee for the Surgeon General, whose name is Jeanette Nishwat, who is so awful that she was complimenting Mark Zuckerberg for censoring people on Facebook during the lockdown.
First of all, vaccines save lives, and I am so excited, and I thank and I commend Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg for taking action, because this affects everyone. This affects our children. It affects adults.
I thank Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, like, oh my gosh, like, I got a position as the Surgeon General. Like, I love censorship. Like, oh my gosh, Trump, thank you so much for hiring me. Oh my gosh. The plastic Surgeon General, as I call her, is a disaster. I could show you more videos like this.
Now have clear-cut, compelling data. A trial of 10,000 participants. This was just posted on the CDC website that showed those who had a third dose, a booster shot, had significantly more improvement, more protection, more antibodies than those who did not have that third dose. So we definitely know, especially going into the winter holidays.
Trump might as well hire Fauci or Peter Hotez, Peter of which she's friends with, the vaccine expert who embarrassed himself on Joe Rogan, and block me on Twitter because I'm awesome. But isn't it a little bit weird that this horrible pro-censorship, basically Fauci clone who talks like she has so much plastic surgery that she can't even move her mouth? I'm not saying she does, it just sounds like it. Whose sister worked for Bush, Obama, and Trump, has a husband who just mistakenly adds one of the Bush-era propagandists to a group chat of Trump's war plans, and that journalist just so happens to be a former military member for the country that, if you haven't figured it out yet, it seems like America does all this stuff for, but then says that you're anti-Semitic for saying that they're doing it?
Well, you know, the biggest change I've seen in Congress is Israel literally owned Congress. You understand that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But I think you know exactly what I'm saying. They had such power, Israel had such power, and rightfully, over Congress, and now it doesn't. It's incredible, actually.
I mean, it's just also ridiculous. But besides that, I don't care that Mike Waltz made a mistake, but the reaction from the Trump administration is just wildly embarrassing. Trying to act like it's not that big of a deal when it is that big of a deal, classified or not. One of Trump's most important roles for his war team is so close to this journalist that he includes him in government group chats about conversations you can guarantee the Trump administration did not want this writer on. Unless Mike Waltz did, I don't know, but what a clown show this is. Speaking of clown shows, you know that Judge James Boserg, who has denied the Trump administration's motion to lift his order that blocks the deportation of Venezuelan gang members using the Alien Enemies Act? Somehow this guy was also assigned to oversee the Signalgate lawsuit. Fascinating. Our government is just a layered clown show. It's like triple layered clown cake. So if you get 2 layers into the clown cake, you're like, I'm following the Republican Party and they're really fighting the Democrats. But it's just so layered with clowns on clowns on clowns that it feels like the establishment knows it doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter if Trump wins or loses. You're going to get a clown show either way. And I'm not being pessimistic or black-pilled. I'm just being realistic about it because my optimism in life doesn't come from my belief in Donald Trump. And I believe that once people figure out what's going on and use their existence to be honest honest about it, that's when these things will start changing. As long as they keep just kicking us back and forth between the two parties like a ping pong ball, it's like boink, 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 boink. Oh no, he's so different than George Bush. He's just hiring people who are putting Bush-era journalists on group chats about war and not getting fired. To me, the message of not getting fired says, we don't care. This is status quo. We're not embarrassed. We're not ashamed. We're going to spin this. Michael Tracy nailed it when he said, the real story of the Signal saga seems to be that instead of just admitting error, the Trump administration feels they can never give an inch against the reviled media, even when the facts are painfully and demonstrably against them, so they have to double down and blatantly lie, mislead to cover their tracks because they refuse to ever concede on anything. This led to an absurd situation where Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe had to make statements before Congress that were at best wildly misleading, at worst outright lies. And I heard recently that Republicans lost some sort of special election in Pennsylvania and they're polling bad in all these special elections. I saw Scott Presler freaking out about that. He's like, come on guys, come on guys. And here's my thought about it. When Trump and Bobby Kennedy lean into authenticity, they're unstoppable. They're popular. They create the coalition that helped them win the election, and they absolutely crush. But when Bobby Kennedy uses his HHS position to talk about anti-Semitism every 2 seconds, now it's his job to police hate for one race, one religion, and one foreign country that gets our taxpayer money, in the same way an Obama HHS would probably try to look into racism and how it affects different communities. It's like, bro, food, drugs, health, we have a lot of issues in this country that affects everybody. You don't need to use that position to police anti-Semitism. They already do it at the DHS, the Department of Education, Homeland, like everything polices anti-Semitism. Why does Bobby Kennedy have to do that? He's embarrassing himself. And even the people that are pro-Israel and supportive of Israel need to understand it's not a good look. Same with Donald Trump. All this stuff is a clown show, including him going even further on deportations. Me personally, if they're gang members, if they're criminals, I support Donald Trump in deporting people that don't belong in our country. Absolutely. Illegal immigrants, people that committed crimes. It's going to be tough, but he does it. Instead of just leaning into that, he's now deporting people who are writing op-eds and trying to say that your op-ed is a support of a terrorist group, even if you don't mention a terrorist group. I don't know why Republicans can't figure this out, especially ones over 50. Trump's doing the exact same thing that George Bush did. When George Bush was starting the Iraq war with journalists like Jeffrey Goldberg pushing for it, just like Charlie Kirk told you, but while they were doing it, they were saying anybody who disagrees with this war is a terrorist. Anybody who doesn't want to fund this war is a terrorist. Now it's the same thing. I don't care if you're pro-Israel, you support Israel, you want to fund Israel, you want them to blow up all of Gaza. Like, you have an American right to believe that, whether I believe it or not. But when Trump is running around policing more speech for Israel than he even is for America, it's just a little weird. And then using exaggerations of Hamas in order to shut down anybody who's pro-Palestine and not supportive of Israel's government. For example, they're conflating the two. They're not saying, okay, if someone's like literally Hamas, will deport them. They're saying basically anyone that isn't pro-Israel can be considered pro-Hamas or supporting Hamas. And now they're using that slippery slope to go after non-citizens who never committed a crime. And they even said that they're willing to look into citizens and students who are doing this. No wonder he's losing special elections. This is not why people voted for him. Maybe the donors like him for that reason. In fact, I know they do, but this isn't the Bobby Kennedy and Donald Trump that everybody had hoped for. But anyway, that's my opinion about Signalgate. I think it's a stupid mistake. I don't think it's a crime or anything. I think he should be fired just because it shows not just a massive error that he can't be trusted, but who he included. Like, he didn't include Marjorie Taylor Greene. He didn't include a reporter from the New York Post who's friends with him, or, someone from Fox News. Not that that would really be any better. He included a guy from the Atlantic, and the Trump administration's like, no, that's fine. I think it's super embarrassing. And to me, it really just shows that the Donald Trump Zionist first agenda, and I say that not because I have an issue with Zionism or people who believe in it, but in America, I think American politicians should be loyal to America and put America first. And I don't think Donald Trump or his administration does that. I think they put Zionism first and Israel first and call everybody anti-Semitic that knows they're doing that. But in general, this just shows you that the Donald Trump Zionist first agenda is really not different from the neocon agenda. They're taking the neocon agenda that Ron Paul stood against, rebranding it, putting a red hat on George Bush policies, and in some cases, going even further than George Bush to not just call people terrorists who disagree with the war agenda, but use the weight of the government to crack down on them in what I would consider even further than the Patriot Act, which everybody now knows is a mistake. It's like now you have Charlie Kirk and all the boomer Republicans saying, no offense to boomers, but, oh, I got tricked by George Bush. But when George Bush was around, they were like, everyone's a terrorist. We need to go fight Iraq. Now they're like, yeah, I made a mistake. Yet somehow learn nothing from that and are making the same exact mistake and letting Donald Trump go even further. This reminds me of when Donald Trump was saying that his vaccine saved 100 million lives. It's like, yeah, I like Donald Trump more than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but it doesn't mean I'm so dumb to think that his vaccine saved hundreds of millions of lives. I don't believe that. I don't think anybody believes that. Even some of the most far left pro-vaccine people weren't making those claims. But Donald Trump is just a snake oil salesman. When he's behind something, he has the charm and he has the likability to sell you a lie the same way he sometimes sells you the truth. I mean, I think Donald Trump is one of the most honest politicians of our lifetime, and that's why I like him. That's why most people like him. But it's good to be educated and informed yourself. This way, you become your own person and you're able to call out the nonsense that's going on in politics. And the truth is, I think Donald Trump is doing a better job in Russia, and I appreciate him for that, and I think he's better than Democrats. But when it comes to other wars, a lot of people that are super Zionist are like, yeah, we don't like the neocons. I get it, but these people don't realize that you are the neocons. It's the same exact agenda. It's why Trump's cabinet is including them on group chats and close to them to the point where that could even happen as a mistake. It's the same foreign policy, just rebranded and sold to people who have 50 years of indoctrination from Fox News-esque conservative media pitching you these concepts. Let me know what you think in the comment section, but the future of the Republican Party can go two different ways. It's either going to go the Thomas Massie, Ron Paul route and the Donald Trump route when he's actually acting like Ron Paul and Thomas Massie, or it's going to go the route of the Mike Wallses putting on a MAGA hat and sharing their information with Atlantic journalists. Anybody can just pretend to be MAGA and be like, yeah, I like Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham does it. He's like, yeah, I'm a Trump guy. And Trump's like, you're my best friend, Lindsey. I love you. I'll endorse you. It's like the bar is so low. And I think all these smart donors and smart Republicans have now pandered to Donald Trump because they know that he is the Republican Party. It's like, you're not getting anything done without Trump. You might as well just play to him. And then he's just giving people access to his administration. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Signalgate's embarrassing and it's turning into some dumb left-right game that I don't want to play. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. I appreciate you. God bless you and have a beautiful day. Let me know what you think of the setup. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friend to subscribe. And if you don't, then we can't be friends. If you tell your friends to subscribe to my channel, we could be friends like I'm friends with Lindsey Graham. But if you don't subscribe to my channel, then you're Thomas Massie to me. You're a third-rate grandstander. Appreciate y'all.